at the risk of coming across as a complete jerk, I firmly believe that you as an entrepreneur should pay yourself first and pay yourself well. And the reason why I believe that is not because of some bad reason that I want to have all the money or whatever it is, right? That's because that's not at all. But the reason why I personally got into entrepreneurship is because I want the freedom. First of all, I want to create things. I want to create the things that I have in mind, make it a reality. But most of all, I just want the freedom. Like over the last 20 years as an entrepreneur, I've had the luxury to travel a lot, right? I've been living abroad many, many times. And even now we have kids. We still travel. Like last year, I went to Indonesia for 3 months with our kids. Did absolutely nothing, like nothing for work, as the team is running a viral as it is. They can run the show without me, right? All of that is only possible because I paid myself first. Now, I want to explain that a little bit further, right? Because obviously there's nuance to that, right? But what I've seen with many entrepreneurs, especially those who run like a SaaS company, like I do, I run a viral, especially those who run a SaaS company. Many entrepreneurs, they literally reinvest everything into the business, which is a good art, right? It works. It probably helps you to scale faster, right? But what I've seen happen for quite a few entrepreneurs is because they reinvest everything back into the business, right? They don't actually cash flow themselves a lot, right? They just keep on working, and then like the thing they're building towards, like they keep growing the business, and the thing they're building towards is finally the big payday when they potentially sell their business, right? But the fact is, a lot of people don't actually sell their business, right? I personally sold a couple of businesses. Like last one was Connect.io that you may have heard, like it was a couple of years back, multi-7-figure deal that I sold, right? But like most business owners don't actually sell their business, right? But even if you do, right? Even when you do sell the business, if throughout the history of the business you're reinvesting everything back into the business, then you are essentially at the mercy of like what you're gonna get for your business, right? And you might be at the peak of the mountain, like best time of the market, and you might exit it really well. Or for example, something happens in the world like we've seen with the interest rates and whatnot that massively impacts how much businesses are worth, right? So you'll get a much smaller payday. And my take on it is like, if you don't pay yourself first, and if you haven't paid yourself well over all that time, and you're solely focused on like, hey, I need to sell my business to finally make bank, essentially, then you don't have the freedom during the time that you run a business as you could have. Plus, I imagine that selling your business is going to be a lot more stressful, like a lot more, because you need it, right? For example, Connecto, when I sold it, sure, it's nice to exit the business, I won't complain, but I didn't need it because I've always operated my business at very, very healthy profit margins, and I pay myself first. And when I say pay myself first, surely, obviously, you should pay your team first. Like I've never over the last 15 years ever missed a payday of any of my team, any of my vendors. Like strictly speaking, everyone else gets paid first. I just make sure that after everyone has been paid, there's enough left to pay myself, right? And that I don't actually reinvest in the business, that I actually set aside for other projects or other activities or whatnot. But yeah, that's really my take on it. So again, there's no right or wrong on this. I just firmly believe that when you say yourself well and you make sure you get a good cut from the profits rather than just reinvesting and keeping everything in the business, like the way I perceive it, you'll be a lot more free to do whatever you want, and you don't, you will have more options essentially, even though it probably comes at the cost of slower growth, right? Because obviously if you reinvest everything, probably you would grow faster, and that's cool, but many people do it for the wrong reason. Like some people, they just want to grow the fastest as possible. That's great. But like some people, they say they want to grow the fastest, but really what they want is, for example, that freedom, right? And then you might be okay slowing slightly slower, but have a healthy 60% profit margin that you actually take home in the bank and that you can do other cool or fun stuff with as well. Not just spending with like investment wise, obviously wouldn't just better because that's nuts. Anyway, that's my take that I wanted to share with all of you. Hopefully it's helpful. I hope you have an amazing day. Cheers.